What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Fortunately, however you operate, I'm the destination you've been looking for. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO? Come see me at visitmo.com.
It's probably a little nicer here than it is where our guest today is calling from. I used to live there in the Houston area. I know it is toasty, to say the least.
A little thick.
A little bit. We're excited to have this guy on. Of course, he's been in the news cycle here in the last couple weeks here this summer. I want to lay some numbers on you here, Jared. UW's first ever first team All-American, 4,357 receiving yards, most ever at the time in college football history, still number 8 all these years later. That, of course, included 3 seasons of 1,000 yards or more, the 4th player ever to do that. 42 touchdown receptions, still the most in school history. Eventual second-round draft pick of the New York Jets. Sounds like a Hall of Fame resume to me, Jared.
Most definitely does.
Let's welcome in Mr. Ryan Yarborough, who is on the ballot, one of 77 guys on the ballot for the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame. Ryan, how does it feel to hear that?
Oh, man, that's first of all, thank you for having me on, first and foremost. Some of those numbers still, resonate in my head. But as far as being on the Hall of Fame ballot, that's a major accomplishment to me. And as the both of you know, Jared more so, I don't get caught up in accolades a lot. But this is one accolade that, that was bestowed on me that I'm very, very grateful for and appreciative of, just to be on the ballot.
What did you think when you first saw that, Ryan? Did you feel like, this has been a long time coming, or did you feel shocked and surprised? And does this feel like maybe that final feather in the cap, I guess, to cap your Wyoming and your college football career?
Well, the feather in the cap will be when I get when they tell me officially that I'm in. But when I first got the nomination or the ballot nominee or the recognition of the ballot, like I said, I was excited, to say the least. Everything happened all at the same time. I received an email from Diane Dotson, and I told her just yesterday that I wouldn't have rather received it from anyone else besides her. But it was just a great feeling, because like I said, it was like a domino effect. Everybody started texting me, calling me, and it was a great feeling. Still is to this day.
Well, and that email came from a fellow soon-to-be Wyoming Athletics Hall of Famer in Diane Dotson.
And guess what? Please believe me. I told her when I was on the phone with her yesterday, she needs to be in the Hall of Fame without question.
Yep. Yeah, this fall's class is actually pretty good for the Wyoming Athletics Hall of Fame, which they all are, but this one is kind of special to me because I'm involved with several of them, so it's good. So, but back to yours, I was going to ask that question. So you received an email, not a phone call from the Hall of Fame folks?
No, I received an email from Diane, and like I said, I've had this phone number for as long as I've been in the Wyoming Hall of Fame, for over 20 years. So I don't answer all the calls, and if anybody calls me that knows me, they know to either leave a voice message or text me. So my first awareness of the ballot, of the Hall of Fame ballot, was from the email that I received from Diane, yes.
Okay. Ryan, let's if we can, let's take a trip down memory lane a little bit. I want you to take me back to Park Forest, Illinois, 1988, 1989. How did Wyoming find you, and why did you ultimately decide to go to Wyoming, and maybe what other offers did you have out there?
Yeah, well, first of all, that was my senior year. I graduated high school in 1989, and I was getting recruited. I'd say, on the average, above average, put it that particular way, But I had two other guys. We were all top 30 Chicagoland area. And those two guys were Midwest All-Americans. So once, because I didn't play my junior, I just played one game my junior year, and I dislocated my, dislocated my clavicle. That's the technical term.
Collarbone.
And they knew, the scouts knew that I had potential, but I just had to show it on the field, put it that particular way, because they always came in and asked about me. But everything fell into place my senior year, and the recruiter from Wyoming is the late, great Larry Corpus. That's my man. He's a Chicago guy as well. He was on the all-area Chicago team with my father back in 1968. So we had a relationship already in hand. And the ironic thing about it was Coach Corpus recruited me, and then he got hired at Chico State. So he left, and my initial wide receiver coach was Greg Brandon. And Greg Brandon stepped in and finished the recruiting process for me before Coach Corpus came back my sophomore year. But the other teams, it was three teams, put it that particular way, that I really had on my list besides Wyoming, two other teams. And that was the University of Illinois and Louisville Cardinals. They had Coach Snellenberger, so they did fairly well in the early 90s. But Illinois is somewhere that I just wanted to get away from, get away out of the house. I'm the oldest of seven. And, I grew up during the middle of the crack era. Right. So I was trying to get as far away from home as possible. And Wyoming was a good fit for me because they had a Chicago pipeline, and also, the offense was conducive to my skill set. So that's how everything worked out.
How much did a guy like Sean Wiggins help that transition, also being an Illinois guy? And did he kind of help you along when you were heading into Laramie?
Absolutely, because Wig, as we call him, Wig, he was my recruiter. He was my host, put it that particular way, when I came in, because my initial roommate, which Jared knows, was Ephraim Lovey Haymore. And Lovey and Wig went to the same high school back in the Chicagoland area called Richards High School, which was a prominent high school in our area, just like my high school was. So it was just a smooth transition, man, because the guys were coming off the 87, 88 championship teams with Randy Wellniak, the assistant AD, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And it was just a smooth transition for me, man, because, like I said, I was trying to get out of the house, obviously, get away from the house, and we're going there, with some Chicago guys that I was familiar with already.
And you went through a couple of different quarterbacks during your time at Wyoming, two JC guys.
Yeah.
How was that transition for you, switching from, a younger you with Tom Caranzos and then an older you with Joe Hughes?
Yeah. And just to put that on you, because, Jared, you always know my little-known history facts. But another little-known history fact that I have that I tell people is I caught a touchdown from 5 different quarterbacks at Wyoming.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. So my first, first touchdown obviously was for Caranzos. Also caught one from, who after that? Peter Rowe.
Oh, okay.
Peter Rowe. Also, my man, in successive order, let me see. Then it comes Joe Hughes, and then one game Joe was hurt. And Scott Jones gave me a touchdown, and also my man John Gustin. So those were the 5 in succession right there. But from my earlier years, I was used to being and playing with the big boys. And what I mean by that is, just because I was a freshman, I didn't feel as if I was a freshman. I knew I had to learn some things, but when it came to the quarterbacks, we were always on the same page. And I tried to be as reliable as possible because once again, I didn't want to show off my youngness, put it that particular way. I knew if I was on the field with seniors that I had to be prepared and be ready just like everyone else. And then once Joe Hughes came in, I had to bring him along initially. And he caught on very well because some of our initial talks were, man, Joe, just throw it out there. I'm going to go get it. If anything, put it out there. If I don't get it, no one else will get it. But the majority of the times, I'm going to go out there and get it. So after the first couple of games, he caught on to that. And, we had a productive career together.
Well, here's a little, you may or may not remember this, and I'm going to fact find you here. The 93 game against Northern Iowa. Pokes,
yeah.
You guys are trailing. There's, I don't know, say a minute left in the game, in the red zone area, and there's a timeout on the field, and I'm standing right there in the huddle with you guys, and Joe Tiller is talking to Joe Hughes and giving him a call, and you walk over there and go, F that.
Yeah.
Throw me the ball.
Talk to me, Jed.
Yep, and throw me the ball. And what happened was Joe rolled out of the pocket, threw you the ball, you caught it. Not too many guys could have went up and got that particular touchdown catch. Comes down with 1 foot in, and Pokes take the lead. But you throw the ball up into the stands, if I remember correctly, and Wyoming gets a penalty and have to kick off from a lot shorter than a lot further back than they would have. And so it gave Northern Iowa a chance to return the ball.
With a guy named Kurt Warner, by the way.
Who nobody at that time knew who Kurt Warner was going to be.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And to answer your or to talk and touch on what you're saying right now, Jared, my history with Northern Iowa runs deeper than that touchdown. And I do recollect that touchdown like it was yesterday for all the various reasons that you pointed out. But my aunt was a teacher at the University of Northern Iowa, obviously Kurt Warner. And one of the guys I scored the touchdown because it was cover 2. But the corner, they were playing 2-man. So the corner that was running with me, I had played basketball against him back in 1984. It was a thing called small fry basketball, and we had went to Puerto Rico internationally and all that. But he was from Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I seen his name in the program afterwards, and I went on the bus, you know what I mean, and I just asked, to speak to him. I wasn't trying to throw anything in his face or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that was him. And he was like, yeah, man, I remember you, So that was something that I remember vividly as well. But to touch on the touchdown, Jared, Coach Roach came up to me on the sideline right after. He didn't tell me good catch or anything because Coach Roach is the guy who was my initial coach. Mm-hmm. And at this particular time, he was just the athletic director. But he was like, you almost lost the game for us by throwing the ball up in the stands. And I said, Coach Roach, I had no worries about that. I knew my defense, my guys were going to hold everything down. So fortunately, everything worked out, man.
Well,
yeah.
One thing you're leaving out that DB was only 5'7".
He was a little taller than that, Jerry. He was a little taller than that. he was taller than you, Jerry.
No, but I do remember going to the parlor that night and celebrating, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's one thing we always did is celebrate very well after the game.
Yarbs, what made Joe Tiller's offense so special?
Well, each and every year, and Coach Tiller, he's my man because initially we butted heads, and that's no big secret right there. When he came in, because he came in with an iron fist, and he wanted things done his particular way, and which is understandable. I didn't have a problem with that by any means. But what I liked about Coach Tiller was open to, exploiting other teams' defenses. Now, whether it was running the ball 30 times or 40 times a game, it was that. But he always wanted to improve on what we had set as a standard the game before, the year before, whatever the case may be. And the integral part to that was Coach Corpus, who I brought up a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that was some of the reasons why I was able to get wide open as much as I was, because we exploited. I even had to come out the backfield sometimes in motion, to exploit certain defenses. And although it was wide open, it was under control too. It was controlled execution, put it that particular way. It just wasn't willy-nilly run and shoot or anything like that. Because if you look at any of the numbers, we had an efficient offense, put it that particular way, and it just took off from there. So that's what I like the most about Coach Tiller's offenses was he was open to expand and to improve on what was already laid down.
So I've heard it referred to as basketball on grass, and of course when he went to Purdue in the Big Ten, they acted like he just came out of nowhere and this offense was brand new and it was a revelation. And maybe it was for that conference, but it'd been around a long time. Is that the way you kind of saw it, just basketball on grass kind of thing?
Yeah, it was more so basketball on grass when he got to Purdue, more so because which Jared knows. We had a 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard receiver, and a 1,000-yard rusher. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to that, you playing a little basketball when it comes to the rushing, but you're playing a little basketball in the paint when it comes to that. So it wasn't just 3-pointers getting shot all the time when it comes to the reference of basketball on grass, because we ran the football as well.
What were the problems that New Mexico always provided Wyoming, and still does to this day, to be honest with you? But back then, the 93 game comes to mind because it was down in the mud and the muck. First half, Rhino goes off, and then all of a sudden get away from the running game in the rain. And then,
cold rain, man. It's a guy that lives in Houston now, where I live at now, and his name is Winslow Oliver, and I believe he's number 5. But we talk about those games like it was yesterday all the time. I don't know, man. It's just one of those teams where, we're human nature, and I'm not taking any credit away from them, but sometimes it's just those games that I remember. It's like, okay, we got New Mexico. All right. Besides the weather, once again, like you said, it was cold, it was raining. We couldn't execute that well offensively on the passing attack. But those are games that, just like Baltimore Ravens had in the championship last year. It's like, all right, we just need to keep running. Let's run this game because, it's all about getting the W more so than anything. But New Mexico always gave us a challenge. And for what particular reason, I cannot answer that one, Jerry.
Well, and going 2-2 against the arch rival from that team down south as well. But the one that hurts the worst would be your senior year one.
Yeah, man. That and speaking of Coach Tiller, we used to have a senior day every Thursday. We had all the seniors. We had a senior meeting, and going into that game, that last game against, we don't want to name them, and I still don't name them like that. But like you said, the team down south, our rival, Coach Tiller, we finally got in his ear because we were trying to get this done the whole season. He let us wear brown on brown. So he was like, look, man, he was like, if y'all wear this brown on brown, y'all going to have to come through for me. But fortunately, it was a game towards the end of the season, so we couldn't ask for it again, to say the least. But that game right there, they came out, man, and they put it on us, to say the least. I remember more so the tight ends doing their thing in that game.
Yep.
Because they always had we had a lot of big tight ends in the league back then. But those tight ends really, really got busy on us, and sometimes it was hard to watch on the sideline. But that was just one that you just had to suck up and take it, because it may have even been, I don't know, Jared, but was that senior day?
You know what? I don't think it was. I think there was still one more game to go, but my last conversation with Coach Tiller, he was at a home game, and I took him across from the suites over to the radio booth to do an in-game interview with Dave and Kevin at the time, and we stopped in the end zone because he goes, I want to watch the rest of this half. And I said, oh, that's fine. So we stood there in the end zone, and he told me that story about you guys going to him on Thursday to ask for playing Brown on Brown. He goes, it was one of my biggest mistakes as a Wyoming coach, was letting those guys talk me into that.
Yeah. We smoothed them over, man, because my senior year, we by the media, put it that particular way, we weren't expected to do a whole lot my senior year. But I knew that we had a special class, because from our freshman year, just say, for example, we had 20 guys that came in, like 15 of our guys were in the rotation, and we had we had a lot of those guys, and some of the guys that weren't in the rotation were in the rotation by senior year. So we had a lot of good guys that came in from junior college too. So my senior class, I knew we were going to do something special on the field. But that Oregon State game, kind of had our head in the dumps because we had them, But they scored like 20 something in the fourth quarter, something like that. Man, it was crazy. And but yeah. Shout out to Coach Tiller for letting us wear that brown on brown. I don't know if anybody has worn it since then, but we look good at least. We look good in the brown on brown.
And that was on national television on ABC.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. Can't win them all, Jay. Can't win them all. Please believe me.
Well, against that team, you should.
Well, yeah. But once again, you know how that rivalry goes, because they got us my freshman year when we were 9-0. You know, so they got us, and they rocked the bus. I know you were there, and I know you remember this too. But they big snowstorm, man. They didn't rock our bus, but they snowstormed our bus.
And there was snowballs flying over the field. There was riot gear up in the stands. It was crazy.
And they beat us too. That was another
question for you about your trip out to Hollywood to be a part of the Bob Hope All-American team. What was that experience like?
Man, I tell people that to this day too, man. That was one of the greatest experiences that I've had, because first of all, just being able to be an AP All-American, and being around the guys that, that you've seen on ESPN and on TV and that you read about all the time, and being able to, shake hands, go elbow to elbow with them, and just have a time with them that most people don't have, okay? But once you get to Bob Hope, Bob Hope, this was, what was that, 93? Yeah. So Bob Hope had been around at least 50 years prior, So it was one of those situations that I seen, my parents seen, my grandparents seen, and I was more so happy just to be around the studio and be, on set with Bob Hope. Now, I believe that wasn't the last one, but it was the last one that he had participated in, where he was saying the names and all that, because unfortunately at that particular time, he was on his way out as far as on the TV scene, and, just from age, and they used to have to tell him his lines in between cuts. So they'd tell him, and then he'd just recite them back. And they had to do that multiple times. And, it was just a great feeling just to be there regardless of his age, and just for him to still, to be able to get the job done, put it that particular way.
One, if our listeners out there get a chance, go to YouTube and YouTube the 1993 Bob Hope college football All-American team. You can watch the video from start to finish. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Ryan, you talked about how Wiggy was kind of there for you and mentored you. I'm curious, did you do the same for Marcus Harris, and did you see greatness in Marcus when he first got on campus?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Marcus was my man and still is to this day. Just like Wiggy is still my man to this day. And when you see somebody younger than you that has the potential to do great things, you always cuff them. Like we say in Chicago, you cuff them. So what I mean by that is pull them to the side, you look out for them, you take care of them as much as you possibly can, and show them the things that you went through in order for them to get through some of those things a little easier and a little quicker than you did. So even when I went off, even from my senior year and when I went off into the NFL, me and Marcus still, kept in contact and stayed in touch for the simple fact that our relationship goes beyond the football field. Mm-hmm. Just like when we seen each other last year, it was great catching up last year at the 30-year anniversary. So to say the least, yeah, I felt not even necessarily obligated. Like I say, I'm the oldest of 7. So when I have younger guys that are around me, I try to give them as much knowledge as I possibly can for them to succeed.
So technically, when you and Marcus Harris played together, you saw him catch exactly one pass. So I assume you didn't think that Marcus was going to even come close or touch your records.
No, because I don't care about records. That's what people that know me know. Records are meant to be broken. That's for the media to have fun with, to play around with, and to ask questions about 30 years later and beyond. But I never foreseen me catching as many catches that I did, let alone Marcus catches as many catches as he did. So when he continued to do the things that he did and achieve the status that he did, I was all for it, and I was happy for him, and he'll tell you that, to say the least.
So that takes away my question of whether you could be honest with us and say you were really pissed off when he broke your records.
Man, please. Records meant to be broken, just like the records that I broke to have my name on it. But I will tell you this, Cody, because I know Marcus is your guy. You know what I mean? The main record that I really care about was 2 records. The longevity, and they're both longevity records. And that's the touchdown record. Mm-hmm. I know Brian Hill, who I keep in contact with, he broke the school touchdown record. But as far as my 42 touchdowns, that's something that I always would love to keep in my pocket. And just me averaging almost 20 yards a catch over a 4-year period is something, that I don't look or don't take lightly, because I was never the person, like you said, Mike Jones had more catches than me my senior year. But my junior year, I had 86 catches. And I came home banged up a lot, and it was like, look, I have to keep going because once again, I didn't go to Notre Dame or USC or Michigan, any big crazy powerhouses. So I knew that I had to, keep putting numbers up, and that's what motivated me, because I knew I had brothers at home, because I'm the oldest of 7, but I had 5 brothers. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I know I had younger brothers coming up that was looking at me and, looking the way that I walk in the path that I was paving. So to say the least, man, records was something that I broke because of my longevity and because I was healthy enough to be out on the field all due to Jared and the training staff of Wyoming, Bill Lyons, Tracy, Amy, the whole crew. So,
well, I got to take it a step further, though, and my bartending skills at the parlor probably came into a little bit of recovery for you as well.
That got me in more trouble than anything.
Hey, question for you, though, Ryan. You know how the uniforms back then, you could wear your half shirts, you could have them, tailored and stuff like that. And so you were showing your abs off, I know looking good was very important to you. Records may not have been, but looking good was. Then they went through a stretch where you couldn't have that to where they had to be tucked in. How would you have approached that?
Well, that happened senior year. You know what I mean? That happened senior year. And shout out to Mad Dog, because Mad Dog used to hate me doing that. He used to hate having to get the shirt ready like that. All right, so shout out to Mad Dog. But my senior year, man, it was never a game that not one rep, but two reps would always come up to me and question me about my uniform. And because I didn't necessarily wear all my pads either. All right. So I just got hip to the fact that somebody was going to be coming up to me, questioning me about my uniform. So during pregame, I would always wear all of my pads and have everything tucked in and everything like that. But yeah, senior year, we could not wear our jerseys untucked. So that was something we had to make some adjustments with in the equipment room as well with Mad Dog. So he had to shorten the jersey up so I didn't have as much to tuck in as I usually did.
The great Ryan Yarbrough, of course, joining us here on the Roaring Repeater podcast. Ryan, let's cap it with this, and this is something that is so big right now, and you talked about longevity, and you talked about your career at Wyoming. What are your thoughts as a former player on the NIL stuff and the transfer portal? Is the portal something you would ever thought of? I know you kind of, because I'm younger now, you're kind of triggering me when you said, Joe Tiller and I didn't get along at first. When I hear that, I think now a guy would go, see you later, I'm out of here. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that and, the NIL stuff. A lot of number 16s running around. You were one of the first stars. I recall you, Mitch Donahue, Ryan Christopherson. You guys were the biggest stars of my childhood where you wanted a number 16 jersey. Did you ever think, man, I need a piece of that?
Oh, I absolutely did. And you see, Jared's not asking me this question because Jared know a few things already. All right. But first of all, shout out to Mitch, too. Mitch was an integral part to me seeing that I can go to the next level as well, even though we didn't play the same position. I looked at his professionalism and I looked at his work ethic. And more importantly than both of those, I looked how he treated people. Mitch was, he's class A1, to say the least, class A guy. But when it comes to the NIL and transferring, I thought about transferring after my first year, okay? Because, it's not a secret, to a lot of people, it was a hard adjustment for me initially my first year. But as I keep referring to, I was the oldest of 7. Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, okay, if you come home, you're going to be working, because I'm not paying for you to go to school. And that was understood, so I'm like, I'm going to have to suck it up then, because I didn't want to come home just to be working and knowing that I could be playing ball. Yeah. All right. But as far as seeing those number 16 jerseys in the stands and throughout Laramie and throughout the state, yeah, I wanted a piece of it because, once again, I didn't have, I came from a different situation than some other people on the team. All right, I didn't have this. I didn't have that. So whatever I could get, I would want it, to say the least. But if you know anything about me, Cody, because Jared knows, I don't kiss and tell, all right? But I was taken care of when I was down in Wyoming, to say the least. Yeah, okay? And I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to say any situations.
They may have or may not have worn cowboy hats. I'm not quite sure on that, but I saw a few of them.
A few things. But, yeah. But I cannot sit here and say that I was not taken care of. in Wyoming, to say the least. So the biggest thing for me, as I said, and the greatest thing that happened to me was me not being able to transfer and me having to be able to stick it out. And that carries on throughout life as well, because I see some guys out there, and this is a question I'm sure you guys have a little more information on than I do, is it seems like some of these guys playing like 6 or 7 years and they didn't transfer to like 5 or 6 different schools. It is like, if that's not free agency.
Yeah. Especially on the
free agency.
Especially on the basketball side. Yeah, it's completely out of hand.
But as me being the player, that I am and the player that I was, I'm all for players getting paid, players being compensated, but I'm not necessarily for people transferring, 4 or 5 different schools. I wouldn't have done that.
Ryan, when you inevitably, we hope, hear your name called for the College Football Hall of Fame, can we be at your party popping champagne, please?
As long as Jared's the bartender.
Hell yeah. And we have one question, though, that you drop our names and the 7220 Roaring Repeater podcast in your acceptance speech.
Absolutely, positively, because I'm gonna tell you guys what, man. Like I said, I'm not the one to cry about accolades or anything like that. But I'm sure you guys more know about the situation than I do. So when you guys find out or when you know what's happening, you let me know. All right, but I definitely will shout out the 7220 podcast. Okay,
that sounds great.
Well,
I have no problem with giving flowers to my people. No problem.
Well, Yarbs, I mean, you should give flowers because I think we were really good teammates on that celebrity softball team up in Cody.
You know it, baby. That's another thing. Cody, I'm all around, baby. I love all the sports. Football just took me the furthest, but I love all sports. Yes, we did. We were great teammates.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, for the fans out there, too, Ryan has also written a book, Beliefs You Can Achieve. He sent me a copy when it first came out. Great stuff, great motivational stuff. It really helps you get to the next level in whatever you do. Really inspirational book. Ryan should hear here in late 2020 or early 2025 whether he's going to be one of the 77 guys on this list, one of the guys that's going to hear his name called for the College Football Hall of Fame. So, Ryan, congratulations, well deserved, and thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us today.
Man, I appreciate y'all first and foremost, and continued success on your show, on your podcast, and continued success to you, Cody, for what you're doing out there, man. And Jared, you know you my man. And happy early birthday, Jared.
I appreciate it.
On this podcast too, man. Happy early birthday, man.
Thanks, Yarb.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good day, man.
Okay, take care. You too.
Ryan Yarborough, the great Ryan Yarborough. He was definitely one of the first stars I recall as a kid.
Hearing his voice always just brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
To be honest with you, I don't know Joe Glenn always used to say that he never had a bad day.
Yeah.
I don't know if Yarb ever had a bad day because he always had a smile on his face. And I knew there was times where, practices were tough. Tiller was tough.
Yeah.
He went up against, a lot of good DBs in his day and stuff like that. And the NFL career didn't pan out as a longevity piece like he wanted.
Yeah.
But he was still very successful and one of the all-time greats that he'll never be forgotten in Wyoming football lore.
No, definitely not. Might as well break the news to you now that we had a little bit of a technical snafu during the middle of that. So we did miss one question, I believe, that he was answering about your favorite tight end, Mike Jones.
Yeah, so we'll have to maybe pick that up again some other time and get a clip from him about Mike Jones. And Mike will be in the Hall of Fame at some point, and maybe that'll be the perfect time to talk to Yarb again about Mike Jones. But
absolutely.
So we'll have to edit that, but we apologize for that.
Yeah, definitely. Frickin' technology bull junk. We're gonna wrap it up here pretty quickly, but let's talk about the Sundance Wicks just put together an entire recruiting class in about a month. 13 new guys, 13 new faces. The latest one, Dante Allen, 13th and final pickup of this 24-25 class for Sundance Wicks. This guy was Mr. Kentucky basketball. He signed with the Wildcats out of high school. He only averaged roughly 43 points a game during his junior season, or his senior season. Before that was cut short with an ACL in high school. So he's joining fellow guards A.J. Wills out of Holy Cross, Obi Agbum out of Fort Lewis, and Jordan Nesbitt from Hampton, along with center Scotty Abube from Southern Illinois and forwards Abu Magasa from St. Louis and Cole Henry from Northern Iowa. So former coach Jeff Linder, of course, added forwards Matcha Bellick. He's from UC Santa Barbara, and Tuco Tanemo from Denver. Those are two guys that decided to hang around, as well as holdovers Kobe Newton, Nigel Cook, and Oleg Kojenets.
And time will tell. Are
Yeah.
these guys going to gel? Are they going to be as good as they appear to be on paper?
I thought about that on the way here. Could this be a Utah State situation? I think last year we were all in agreement. We thought Utah State was going to be absolute steaming pile of shit, and they absolutely kicked everybody's ass. Could it be that? Or, I think right now we're probably in the same boat. Just be competitive, night in and night out. No 20-point loss crap, none of that. And I think Sonny, with his approach and the way he is as a human being, maybe I'm crazy, Jared, but I think it's good for like 5 to 7 wins.
I totally agree, because even like we were just talking about having good days and bad days, I think having Sonny on your sideline and in practice every single day, he's going to bring that positivity to you.
No doubt.
How can you have a bad day? Yeah, there's going to be some rough practices, some rough stretches.
Yeah.
But that guy's attitude should boost you enough to get you over any hump.
And he's going to make these guys be present in the community, so they're going to get to know Laramie, they're going to get to know Wyoming, and they're going to love it.
You mean they're going to know where the classroom building is,
Yeah,
what
too.
Prexy's pasture is,
Yeah,
and the Union?
I think so.
Huh, okay.
I think so. They'll be happy to know there's a bar in the Union. They should go check it out.
Yeah.
Also, are you keeping track of the Best of Wyoming series? Number 3, we only have 2 more to go. Number 3, Dewey McConnell. He was a stud wide receiver defensive back from Laramie High School. He was the first 2-time All-American. Ryan Yarbrough was the first 2-time first-team All-American. So Dewey McConnell was really one of the very first stars in the history of Wyoming football. I've had a lot of fun doing this series, Jared. I think it's been great, and we're getting ready to start on Colorado next week, the best Wyoming players of all time from the state of Colorado. I think that one's going to be – let's just face it, there's not that many homegrown players like there is guys from Colorado who've come up here.
Yeah, and for the fans out there that are throwing out their names for people, hey, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But there's some of them just that – there's no way they're going to make a list just because they don't have the accolades, just because you might be related to somebody, just because they might be your roommate or friend, whatever, drinking buddy. Yeah. That's great. But look at the accolades and look what these people did during their time at Wyoming, and they're still on top 10 lists. Some of them are 30, 40 years later. They're still on top 10 lists. That's crazy to think about.
It really is. Also, before we go here, some little bit of breaking news during our chat with Ryan Yarbrough. $3.5 million gift from the McMurray family, which has been just unbelievably generous to this university. They have a $3.5 million gift that's going to support renovations of UW's War Memorial Stadium. Just huge, man. This will pave the way for the revitalization of the west side of War Memorial Stadium and the creation of a new state-of-the-art swimming and diving facility. So the McMurrays are unbelievable. That foundation, Mick and Susie's foundation, has just been incredible. And they give to everything. It's not just athletics. I know, I don't know if this news is out there yet, but the Wyoming marching band, Western Thunder, is going to be in the Rose Bowl parade this year. That's the kind of stuff they give to. That's the kind of stuff that they make sure that those kids go and they have a great time at the Rose Bowl parade representing their state.
Yeah,
great stuff.
Yeah, thank you for the McMurray family and Trudy for her continued support after Mick and Susie have left us. So
yep. This gift, a combined $2.5 million from the McMurray Foundation and a previous $1 million gift from the late Susie McMurray, will greatly enhance the game day experience for Wyoming football fans. Awesome. Just awesome stuff. I know Ed Seidel is quoted in here, what a truly magnificent gift to support our athletic program, our university, and our fans. It's wonderful to see the continuing generosity of the McMurray Foundation and the family to strengthen UW in countless ways over the years. I know Tom Berman is absolutely ecstatic. He just tweeted out how thankful he is. He says the investment in War Memorial Stadium will impact thousands of people across Wyoming for generations. Coupled with the McMurray Foundation's leadership of the Wyo Sports Ranch, these two projects will reach the vast majority of the people in the state. So great stuff, and that's what we need, man. Wyoming, the University of Wyoming needs people like the McMurrays to keep believing and keep pumping funds, and hopefully there's some more McMurrays coming down the pike here that are really going to help.
Yeah, and when you think about the renovations of the war and then when the pool's built, there's really not a whole lot left. I mean, you might have to start over again just because you had to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
But then it's really the focus will be on NIL.
Yep, no doubt. Well, War Memorial Stadium is going to be damn near brand new. The whole thing's been pretty
75 years later.
Yeah, love it.
So.
I love it. All right, well, we're going to wrap up at that. Go to 7220sports.com. There's a ton, everything with basketball, every single signee. There's a story about every one of them. You can also get with the countdown here with 2 more to go. We'll wrap that up on Monday. We'll start the Colorado portion next week. And then depending on where that ends up, I haven't done the math yet on what day that's going to end on. We might get into maybe Texas, Nebraska, or we might save that maybe for next summer. We do have Mountain West Media Days right around the corner, July 10th and 11th in Las Vegas. It's a couple of weeks early this year, so we will talk to Jay Sauvel. They haven't said who the players that are going to be there yet, but we will be there, boots on the ground, getting some interviews and getting excited for football. Less than 90 days away from Tempe and Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona, so excited for that one. Excited for this football team. We're going to enjoy the summer, though. We need to enjoy this summer because we got football going to be cranking up, and it's going to be a blast.
There's a few brew fests that Cody will be going to because he loves microbrews.
Yeah, I'll be at the Coors plant. All right, Jared. Thanks, brother.
At Baker's Pharmacy, care is what's most convenient for you. Care is being here when you need us. We're open evenings and weekends. Care is helping you save more. Most insurance plans and discount cards are accepted at your local Baker's Pharmacy. Care is saving you time by managing your prescriptions online. You can request refills, check order status, and more. Care is convenience that works for everyone. Baker's, a world of care is in store. Services and availability vary by location. Age and other restrictions may apply. For coverage, consult your health insurance company. Visit the pharmacy or our site for details.